Boom, 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 and all the people say, ayo, ayo, say boom, 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 what's up, y'all? So this is the 200th episode. I feel like it's a party, and I have reviewed a good chunk of them. I probably missed like a season or two, maybe a little bit more than that, because I did have a little slow moments, but I'm back in full force, y'all, and we are doing it. I really love me some Catfish. And I see that you guys do as well. And thank you so much for all of you guys that share these videos, that like these videos, that, you know, I've even seen people from the shows come on here and comment. Some of them are not too happy with the things that I say. Some of them are actually, you know, like, wow, she said something decent. Like Nick from last week. I saw that he had, was it Nick? I believe it was Nick, who from last week had went ahead and commented on my last video, and he actually said something positive. So, you know, shout out to him for that. But normally I get people that are mad because it's usually the Catfish, and they're usually upset with my truth or whatever I've said as far as my opinion. But these are my opinions. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. You go on a show and it's just, it is what it is, like I said. Anyways, so this person, her name is Ivy, and she's an esthetician. I hope I said that correctly. I believe I did. Sometimes my tongue does get tied up and things be all over the place, y'all. But so Max had actually came through for this episode just for the beginning so they could see the little cake and stuff, which was cute. You know, I haven't seen him in a little while. But you know, like Cammy and Neve, they're the ones that's doing the darn thing. And so Ivy, she's from Texas. She's an esthetician. And 5 years ago, she met a guy named Dante. And of course, you know, she loves him. They're in love. They've been messaging each other. And they just, you know, hit it off. And they are like inseparable or whatever. Well, via messenger. So she was in a bad car accident back in 2018. And she was super distraught because he didn't show up around that time to like comfort her, even though he said he would. And then he ends up saying that he wasn't well, so that's why he wasn't able to come to see her. So he does live in Louisiana, so it's not super far. It's about 4 hours away. But, you know, every time that they were supposed to meet, of course, the classic Catfish scheme is, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do it. You know what I mean? I can't come through or whatever. Always something mysteriously comes up. So she did find out that he does have a secret Instagram. So they, of course, looked that up. He didn't have tons and tons of friends like an influencer or anything like that. It was kind of normal-ish. But, and it was created around the time that they started talking. But it was a little odd that he never mentioned it, although they've known each other for so long. So now, when the investigation started, they found a guy named Joseph attached to this, to, you know, everything. I think it was attached to the phone number. And he's married with kids, and he's a Caucasian man. So it's like, is this the person? You know, is this the reason why he doesn't want to meet up? Because he's not who he says he is? Is it possible? Of course, anything's possible. So Neve did go ahead and message the guy eventually, well, the Dante person, and he said actually that he was going to come to Dallas. Yeah, like super easy. It was weird, but that's what he said. And Cammy was just not buying it. She felt like she wasn't convinced. She felt like he was going to, of course, like just kind of say he was and then not show up, like the classic Catfish. And lo and behold, Cammy was correct. He actually did not show up. So not super surprising, but you know, it was also disappointing, especially for Ivy, who was hoping that for finally she'd be able to see him, you know, and get to touch him and feel him and be around him. Because it's been so long and so much disappointment that it's like physically, you know, making her sad and stuff like that and low-key depressed. So now they literally hit him up. They call him and he says, they were like, you know what about if we come to you? Because he was like, he's sorry, he wasn't going to be able to make it. So he agrees. So they're like, you know what, we out. 4-hour drive going to see this dude in a park. And when he turns around, he is not the same person from the picture. And he says, you know, he actually is a correction officer, like he had told her that he was. He's 30 years old, and he goes by Dante. But mind you, later on when they asked him what his real name was, it was like Joe. Like, dude, Joe is your name? So how the hell do you go by Dante? Like, you just saying that. You saying anything right now. So he seems to have an issue with, like, really expressing himself, showing his emotions, kind of like this thing called alexithymia, where you're not able to really show your emotions out there and allow people to know what you're really feeling. But we could see that there was sadness, but I feel like he just wasn't really fully expressing himself or showing eye contact. So yeah, once Neve was talking to Cammy and they kind of moved away a little bit, Neve did tell Cammy that he felt like this man had a lot of remorse. Like, you could kind of see it. And he even seemed like he was ashamed. And perhaps that's why he kept on putting his head down and kind of, you know, seeming almost like a kid who was ashamed. So I guess that's why he was like that. So now they finally are able to have a conversation one-on-one. And although Ivy didn't seem mortified, she did seem, I don't know, she just seemed like she wasn't excited as maybe she thought she was. It's almost like you could see the fairy tale start to, like, float away, you know? It's like initially it was something she really wanted, but it just started to float away from her. And I just felt like the fantasy was starting to really fade at this point. So yeah, he's, like I said, he actually said the reason why he didn't really come forward with everything is because he had a stroke in 2019, and then from there he also had a and he kind of like gave us details of the stroke and how it happened when he was waiting for something to eat. If it wasn't for his friend who came, he probably wouldn't even be here, you know, because those types of things, every second, every minute, every moment counts. The longer that someone is left untreated by, you know, medical professionals, they're getting more and more damage to their brain or their nerves, etc., etc. So luckily for him, you know, he's still able to walk, he's still able to speak. It seems like he may have a little bit of a speech impairment, but I don't know if, you know, I don't know him, so I don't know if that's normal for him or if that's something due to the stroke. But either way, you know, it's definitely sad, but he's also lucky to be here. And he said, you know, through it all, she was there with him, but he never revealed this because he kind of, like the same thing I said, like he is not good at putting out his emotions and things like that. And he kind of puts a lot of weight on his shoulders and holds it to himself. You know, it's kind of like walking around with like these big 2-ton weights on your shoulder, and it's kind of weighing you down, and you keep on like stacking it on, and you're like weighing down as you try to walk. You know, it's like they say, the weight of the world, right? I mean, he doesn't necessarily have the weight of the world, but y'all get the comparison that I'm trying to say. And that's kind of like how he does, because he doesn't let it out. But he did make her a poem, which was more like a letter in my opinion, but you know, everybody's idea of a poem is a little bit different. But yeah, he made her a poem, and she seemed to really like look overjoyed and really like appreciate it from the look on her face, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, she said that she wasn't really sure when they came back together again. She said she wasn't really sure where they're going to go from this or how they're going to move forward, if they're going to move forward, because she needs to take some time to process everything and see what the next step is. And 2 months later, when they do the little recap of everything, she just was kind of like, you know, she tried to be cordial and have like a decent relationship with Dante/Joe, but unfortunately it didn't really go anywhere. I guess she couldn't get over the fact that he was a liar. I just feel like he wasn't what she envisioned, and therefore that's how the fantasy ended. Because sometimes you're all, you know, you're high, you have these endorphins going, you know, your dopamine is like in a rush, you know, you're getting all these good feelings, and once you actually get it, you know, it's kind of like, this is not what I wanted, man. Like, this is not what I dreamt about, what I, you know, what I thought about. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they spoke on the phone, so it's the same voice you were used to. It's just the face didn't match. And then I guess the lies. I mean, it is, I'm not going to front. It is hard to get past certain lies. And this was like a big lie. But it was also a good excuse for her to not move forward, because he wasn't something that she was, you know, maybe not really into or whatever. Perhaps. I mean, I don't know what her type is, to be honest. But if it's anything like the picture, I mean, he didn't look like the picture. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure that this probably was a little bit of a drop to his ego, because at the end of the day, that's probably one of the main reasons that he used somebody else's picture, because of the fear of being rejected. And this is kind of exactly what happened. So it's almost like one of those things where it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know? But according to him, he says that it feels like there's a weight lifted off his shoulders. So, you know, just kind of releasing Dante and being able to be himself now. So, I mean, it is what it is. This wasn't a happy ending, fairy tale type of story. But at least Ivy was able to kind of shed that off and possibly get into a real, you know, IRL, in real life type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to them and good luck to her. All right, guys, I will see you guys on the next one. Later.